When Keanu Reeves steps out of a bustling cafe in downtown Los Angeles, he expects nothing more than a casual afternoon. Coffee, laughter with friends, maybe a few fan encounters. But across the street, something unexpected catches his eye. A boy alone, sketching with fierce concentration. Most celebrities would glance and move on. Keanu doesn't. He crosses the street, accepts the boy's drawing with a warm smile, and tucks it into his jacket without thinking twice. A kind moment, a forgotten gesture, or so he believes. Because hidden within that innocent sketch is a desperate cry for help, one that will pull Keanu into a dark underworld few dare to face. A missing boy, a shattered system, a clock ticking down faster than anyone realizes, and before the end, Keanu will be forced to make a choice that no script, no stage, could ever prepare him for. Keanu Reeves risked everything to save a stranger, and what he discovered changed his life forever. Oh, and before we dive in, tell us, if you could ask Keanu Reeves just one question, what would it be? Drop it in the comments below. The afternoon sun cast a golden glow over the bustling sidewalk of Los Angeles. People moved energetically in front of the trendy Café Lumière, one of the most frequented spots by artists, musicians, and actors in the city. Among them, dressed casually in worn jeans and a black leather jacket, stood Keanu Reeves, chuckling quietly and exchanging stories with two longtime friends. Keanu was always known for his discretion. Despite his fame, he blended naturally into the environment, as if he were just another patron trying to steal a few moments of peace amidst the city's rush. He held a coffee cup in his hands, attentive to the conversation, but his naturally observant eyes constantly scanned the scene around him. That's when something across the street caught his attention. A boy, thin, dressed in faded, worn-out clothes, sat on the sidewalk with a small sketch pad balanced on his knees. He was drawing with intense concentration, eyes narrowed in total focus as if the entire world had disappeared around him. His dirty, slender hands moved with surprising skill, sketching quick, precise lines. Keanu tilted his head slightly, curious. Minutes passed, but the boy didn't seem to notice the buzz around him. His attention was completely absorbed by the drawing coming to life on the page. It was a common sight in Los Angeles, where street artists often showcased their talents. But there was something about this boy that held Keanu's gaze. Something hard to explain, a feeling deep within his chest. Suddenly, the boy finished his drawing. Without hesitation, he crossed the street, skillfully weaving through cars and pedestrians until he stood in front of Keanu. "For you," the boy said, his voice hoarse as he handed him the paper. Keanu, surprised, took the drawing. It was a portrait, his portrait. And it wasn't just any drawing. The lines were vivid, full of expression. The look captured on paper conveyed a depth that even most photographers struggled to achieve. It was as if the boy had seen directly inside him, uncovering emotions hidden beneath the surface. "Wow," Keanu murmured, genuinely impressed. He crouched slightly to be closer to the boy's height and gently touched his shoulder in a sincere gesture of gratitude. The boy gave a small, almost imperceptible smile before quickly retreating, blending into the passing crowd. Keanu watched as the boy disappeared. For a moment he thought about calling him back, maybe asking his name, giving him some money, or helping him somehow. But he hesitated. Maybe, he thought, the boy simply wanted to share his art, expecting nothing in return. With one last glance at the drawing, Keanu carefully folded the paper and tucked it into the inner pocket of his jacket. "What talent?" one of his friends commented, peeking briefly at the paper. "Yeah," Keanu replied, still intrigued. "A rare talent." They returned to their conversation, but something inside Keanu remained unsettled. He tried to ignore it, attributing the feeling to the natural sensitivity he always carried within. Maybe it was just the impact of the boy's talent, he told himself. Maybe. The day went on. As usual, Keanu finished his coffee, said goodbye to his friends, and walked over to his motorcycle parked at the corner. He mounted it and, with the soft roar of the engine, disappeared through the streets of Los Angeles. He didn't know, not yet, that the small piece of paper he now carried in his jacket wasn't just an innocent gift. It was a desperate cry for help, and time was already running out. Several days had passed since the unexpected encounter. Life in Los Angeles moved at its relentless pace, and Keanu Reeves, though often lost in the whirlwind of meetings, film discussions, and quiet motorcycle rides through winding streets, found his mind drifting back to the boy from the cafe more often than he cared to admit. One quiet evening, after a particularly long day, Keanu returned to his minimalist home nestled in the Hollywood Hills. The setting sun cast long shadows across the polished wood floors. He dropped his keys into a small bowl by the door and shrugged off his jacket, tossing it over the back of a chair. As he moved through the living room, a soft rustling sound caught his attention, something slipping from the jacket pocket onto the floor. The drawing. He bent down and picked it up, smiling slightly as he looked once again at the intricate portrait. The boy's skill was undeniable. Each stroke captured something raw and truthful. Keanu turned the paper over in his hands, admiring the simplicity, when something faint caught his eye on the back. At first, it looked like a smudge, a slight discoloration. But as he angled the paper toward the light, faint, almost invisible pencil markings appeared, hurried, desperate. His heart quickened. Carefully, Keanu tilted the paper closer to a lamp, straining his eyes to read the barely there words. "Help me, it's not safe, please." The message struck him like a physical blow. The simple plea, hidden so subtly, carried a weight that instantly tightened his chest. Keanu stood frozen for a long moment, staring at the trembling words. All at once, memories from his own difficult childhood flooded back. Nights sleeping in cheap motel rooms, the feeling of being invisible, unwanted, forgotten. He knew that kind of fear. He recognized it intimately. He couldn't ignore it. Setting the drawing down on the coffee table, Keanu grabbed his jacket again, this time with determination. He knew where he needed to go. Back to the cafe, back to the street where the boy had first appeared. If there was even a sliver of a chance to find him, to help him, Keanu had to act. Without hesitation, he grabbed his helmet, mounted his motorcycle, and roared into the night. The streets were alive with the usual chaos of the city, neon lights blinking, cars weaving through traffic, people laughing on sidewalks. But Keanu's mind was elsewhere, his focus razor sharp. He retraced the path, in his memory, visualizing exactly where the boy had stood, where he had crossed the street, the direction he had disappeared. Minutes later, he parked outside the Café Lumière. It was quieter now, the crowd thinner in the late evening. The warm scent of coffee still drifted into the night air, mingling with the faint tang of the city. Keanu walked up and down the block, scanning every face, every alley, every hidden corner. No sign of the boy. He questioned a few people outside the cafe, waiters on their smoking breaks, a group of artists discussing a gallery opening. But no one remembered the boy. No one had paid him much attention. Frustration gnawed at Keanu. He pressed on, walking further down the street, turning into narrower alleys where the light barely reached. Each shadow seemed to breathe. Each whisper of wind stirred his urgency. He refused to give up. Finally, in a dimly lit alley near the back of an old bookstore, Keanu spotted an old man, a news vendor with a cart piled high with newspapers, magazines, and candy bars. His face was weathered, his eyes sharp beneath a fraying cap. Keanu approached carefully. "Excuse me," he said, lowering his voice to be heard without alarming. "A few days ago, there was a boy around here, young, small, carrying a sketch pad. Have you seen him?" The old man squinted, considering. "Lots of kids around here," he rasped. "Some stay for a night, some for an hour. Most disappear." Keanu's heart sank. This boy, he drew portraits, very talented. Might have been sleeping nearby? The vendor scratched his chin. The little artist," he said finally, "used to curl up behind that dumpster over there." He nodded toward a shadowed corner. "Haven't Seen him for a few nights now. Keanu felt a chill. He moved toward the dumpster, stepping carefully through the littered alley. The spot was empty,